So how to buy apartments. How to buy apartments in the next 90 days and do it with little out-of-pocket capital. So my promise to you tonight is just that. How can you buy a 10 to 30 unit apartment deal in the next 90 days with, say, $20,000 out of pocket? How do you make that happen? And if I could show that to you tonight, would that be worth it to you? Would that be worth it to you to learn that this evening? And here's why this is so important, and I need everybody to grasp this. Because you're going to bring one or two things to the table when you do this. You're either going to bring all the money, which is hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars to take down a multifamily building. Does anybody here have hundreds of thousands of dollars of liquidity in their bank tonight, or millions of dollars in liquidity in their bank tonight that they can actually bring in the capital, all the capital? Chime in, thumbs up or thumbs down. Most people don't, so I'm presuming thumbs down. So don't be afraid to put a lot of thumbs down if that's the case. Because I think this is really important. Because I'm going to show you how to scale money. I'm going to show you how the money game works, and how if you do this correctly and you learn a specific skill set, which is what this is how you get it done. So if you're trying to do this thing alone and control it all yourself and have no other partners or anybody involved with you, that's totally fine. That's what I did. That's what we did for almost 8 years. And we went and we got to 20 units. And I'll get into that tonight. But if you're trying to kind of scale and do a bigger thing, not only get to the first deal, but then from there maybe do a lot more, then you have to learn the game of capital. Because you have two options here. Option A is you do it all with your own money. And you'll probably get one deal, maybe two. Maybe two. Okay? One deal, maybe two. And that's it. Or if you do this correctly, you can take that exact same equity that you would put into one deal and you can scale it into many. Okay? You can do what we did. And you take a few $100,000 and you scale it into 1,000 units and $185 million in assets. You can do that option. Or you can stay and just stick with one deal. Does this make sense? You have two options. Bring in all the money, or you use other people's money with yours. So you're bringing in some, and then everybody else comes around you with the OPM game, other people's money. And that's what we're going to go through tonight. Okay. So full disclaimer, you're not going to become a millionaire tonight. Definitely not off just one multifamily deal, but you are going to be able to set yourself up for you and your family down the road and for the future. And that's really, really critical. I did want to become a millionaire. That is something that I knew. I'm like, I want to become a millionaire. And it's not the money, right? The money is just one aspect of it, right? The money just gives you choices, right? Meaning, do you take that trip with your family or do you not? Do you buy that home for your family or do you not? Do you give back to your local charity and church or do you not? Do you help others or do you not, right? It's a choice game, right? With the more money you have, the more choices you have. It's that simple. And so the money is that mechanism to do that. And I know I want to be a millionaire. And if you calculate that out per day, that's $2,379 a day. So if you can figure out how to make $2,379 a day, you're going to be a millionaire, liquidity wise, not just by assets. Okay. And that's something that I wanted to do. But it comes down to this. And this is what I want you to understand, because this is a belief system between your ears. I need you to believe, even though you may or may not know it, or by the end of this presentation, you're kind of like, I don't know if I can do this. And if you have that thought at the end of this thing, I don't know if I can do this, you absolutely 100% can. You absolutely can. So maybe slap yourself by the end of it and be like, yes, I can. And you're smart enough and you have what it takes. Okay, you can do this. You got this. All right. Very, very, very important. I got started, just so everybody, if you don't know who I am or what I do or any of that stuff, so I'm a multifamily investor, third generation with family. But, I went through the financial crisis. Anybody remember the financial crisis? Anybody lose anything during that period, 2008? Okay. But I started with one condo, $100,000 in 2010. $25,000 down right in the midst of the financial crisis. And none of that was my own money. I had to go find that money. But we got good returns, good cash flow, making about $570 a month. Like on a percentage basis, it was huge. But it was our first deal, condo, rental property. That's how we got started. And then from there, we were able to scale and grow. So during this, I watched my dad go through a massive bankruptcy, massive BK. And it was crazy. I'd never really been through that before. Never had, I mean, I don't know if anybody's been through a bankruptcy before, but watching somebody you love go through that, it was devastating, right? And having to learn from that and walk through that was unbelievable. But they always say in moments of suffering, greatness is born, right? In moments of suffering, greatness is born. And so in that collapse of 2008, I became an asset manager for a lot of the major banks at that time. And I was doing a lot of the foreclosures, managing them for all the banks nationwide. But then I started to see the market shift. So I got into the real estate game with my real estate broker's license, started helping people with a lot of short sales. But that's when we started buying, right, our first deal, right? Our first deal was in 2010, that condo. And then 8 years later, right, through some of this stuff, we started the OPM game and started learning this game of how do we scale our money, because we started running out of our own money, right? We kind of went from this one condo, 2010, $100,000. By 2018, we had about 20 units. It's pretty good. $3.5 million of assets. It's pretty good, but we wanted more. The problem was we were running out of our own money. That was the biggest problem. We were just running out of our own money. So now we had to figure out, okay, how do we take the equity that we have in these deals, reposition it, and scale it? And I had to learn this game of syndication. Has anybody heard the term syndication before? All syndication means is you're collaborating money. You're taking some of your money in combination with other people's money, meaning investors, friends and family, your network, people you know, people you don't know. You'd be surprised. If you find a good deal, the money will find you. It always has, it always will. It always has, it always will. It's very, very, very important. I want to share something real quick as we kind of go through this, and then I'll come back to this screen, okay? Because this is the 5 different pillars of buying an apartment building. And if you're going to go do this, these are the 5 pillars you have to master. You have to master these 5 different pillars, and then buying an apartment will happen no problem. So these are the 5 pillars of buying an apartment building. You got to find good deals. Starts there and it ends there. Once you find good deals, now you can actually analyze them quickly, determine whether it's a good deal. Do we move forward? Do we not move forward further? Yes or no? Then number 3 is how do we structure? How do we finance, capitalize, and legally structure the deal for me and other people? Number 4, close the deal, close the escrow. And then lastly, how do we manage this thing? Most people are scared to death of managing properties. Most of these things you're not going to manage because you're going to hire the property managers, and that management cost is built in to the deal, So you're not paying for it. It's built into the cost of the deal. So these are the 5 pillars of buying an apartment complex. So with this in mind, now we're here and we had to learn how to find good deals, but we had to learn how to do the capital game too. So from 2018 and having 20 units, $3.5 million in assets, now today, just a few years later, now having over 1,000 units and 185 million, that's where we went to it. And now think about this, because when you begin to scale and grow in the space, most people have problems giving up ownership or control of a deal. And what I'm trying to explain is you're not going to give up any control of the deal, but you will give up ownership, equity in the deal. But by doing that, you're able to scale your money and go far. Because we had 20 units and 3.5 million of which we owned 100% of. And that was great. But by being able to scale with the exact same equity, we went for over 1,000 units, 185 million, of which we own 40% of 185 million. Or I can own 100% of 3. You do the math. That's why you do this. And then for this, you're getting paid very handsomely. You get to make a lot of money when you do this right. And this is why you come in and you learn this skill set, because you get paid beautifully for it. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. Okay. Very, very, very important concept for people to understand. So my first deal apartment was this one. This was a 27 unit in the Midwest. We took it from this kind of an old, dumpy 1970s property, and with a few $100,000 turned it into this. Renovated the interiors and exterior and did it all, and raised the rents and made this thing great. We took the value from 2.2, added $1 million on this thing for putting a few $100,000 in the deal. And then we got cash flow, tax benefits, all that stuff from it. And this was my first deal. So mindset wise, to get yourself wrapped around how this game works, you only need $20,000, $30,000 out of pocket to get into a little 10 to 30 unit deal and make this happen for yourself. Okay, but in order to do that, you have to break through some of these kind of limiting belief systems, these false beliefs that a lot of us have. The first one being that you need a lot of money. You just don't. And I'm going to show you that here tonight. Number two, the belief that this is too complex. It's too complex and you can't do it. You have to be an expert. We're going to break through that one tonight. Number three is deals are hard to find. The market's oversaturated. How do I do that? How do I deal with that one? Okay. We're going to break through all of these barriers tonight because these are the top three. When you say you got approved for 300, that's a commercial loan. They wouldn't just approve you for 300. So I'm curious on that because when you get into multifamily, they're underwriting the property. They're not underwriting you. So you're not getting approved for squat. Like you're just kind of a backdoor piece to the puzzle. The property's getting approved. The property's getting the loan. You're secondary. So I'm curious the type of loan that you were seeking on that. Yeah, if it's a commercial loan, if they're only willing to give you 300, that means the property's financials were not very good. So I'd be curious to look at that deal. But that's how that happens. So it looks like I'm going to share this with you. Finding the deals in financing and capital. Finding the deals, financing, and capital tend to be the biggest ones. Okay, beautiful. So we're going to target that specifically here tonight and then provide you some resources and tools to narrow that down. Because if that's what's stopping you, if finding good deals and doing the financing and capital, like if those are the big hurdles for you, let's break through those tonight, okay? Thank you for sharing. So how do you do that? You got to break through these things. You got to break through these things. So the belief that you need a lot of money to get started, that's false. Let's go ahead and break down this deal real quick. This is a very simple 15-unit apartment complex for $1.5 million. $1.5 million. So you got about $100,000 per unit, 15 unit for $1.5 million. You're going to say renovations, you're going to improve the property. You're going to put in $100,000 to improve the property. Then you're going to have closing costs for about 50 grand. Your total all-in costs on that deal is $1.6 million. You're going to go out and get a loan for $1.15 million. So Ava, getting this loan on $1.15 million is easier than getting that loan on the 5-unit, by the way. And it's even easier than getting a $200,000 house loan. Does anybody know why that is? Okay, property produces cash flow, rent from the tenants, banks look at the assets, net operating income, more doors. It's based on the properties. Yep, rental income. Yep, all the above. So you probably heard DSCR loans, all that other stuff, right? DSCR loans. That's essentially all the bank is doing. Is the bank is saying, listen, we're not going to evaluate you personally. We're going to evaluate the property's financials. We look at it like its own business. If it can substantiate the monthly payment to us, we're going to throw the money out the front window of our bank into the back of your truck. Not literally, but you get the point, right? It's about the property first. You are secondary in that process. Now, they're going to look at you a bit, but they're not going to underwrite you like they did a single family home and ask for your W-2 pay stubs and all this other crazy stuff and give you an entire body exam before they give you a loan. That's not how it's going to go down. They're just going to make sure that you're somewhat worthy, that you don't have like a 200 credit score, and you're not a complete utter fraud. And if that's the case, then you'll probably get your loan. Okay, it's not that difficult. But more importantly, that's why you stay small for your first couple deals. And when I say small, 10 to 30 units, 10 to 30 units, 10 to 30 units. There's a very specific reason why I'm mentioning that. And that is because in that space of 10 to 30 units, it's bite-sizable. You're dealing with mom and pop brokers, more mom and pop brokers, mom and pop sellers. They're not expecting you to have some massive resume or some lineage or some crazy connections. They're not expecting you to have, amazing history in doing this. They're expecting you to be a newbie most of the time in that space. So that way you can get in there and actually execute. If you're trying to go after 30, 50, 100 plus unit deals for your first one, I understand why some of the other gurus and people out there try and do that. I get it, why they're trying to teach you that. You just don't have a chance in hell at pulling it off. You don't. And it's pie in the sky, smoke and mirrors. Because the only way you pull a deal down like that of any size north of 30 units for your first one is you're going to be involved in a team atmosphere of a partnership, of which you're going to lose control of the deal. So if you're going to be putting money in and you're going to be doing things and you're going to be part of this team atmosphere trying to go after big deals, you're going to be a small, well, let's say a small fish in a big pond, and you're going to lose control, voting rights, decision making. You're just going to be a little team member minion is what's going to happen. And if that's okay with you, then fine. Get into a big team environment and go after 100+ unit deals for your first one. But if you actually want to execute this and make your wealth grow, 10 to 30 units for your first one, 10 to 30 units for your second one, then you can go play, put the big boy pants on. Does that make sense? There's a very specific reason for this. This is how it's worked for everybody that comes into our community, everybody around us. That's how I got started. As I showed you, my first was a 27 unit. And then we go to another 31 unit, then a 50 unit, then 121, then 200, then 160, then 80, then 185. I mean, you see where it goes. 144 we just closed on. That's how it goes down. But it started with one condo. Okay. So breaking this deal down further, the loan comes in for $1,150,000. Now you're talking about this game. This is what stops people right here, the equity. Because you're saying, I don't have 500 grand. And my response to you is, I know you don't. Most people don't. So this is how you make it happen. You're going to come in with about 10%, 10% in the deal. That's going to get you the general partnership role to control and run and manage the deal. The OPM is the other people's money. This comes in from a multitude of sources, right? This could be your network. It could be friends of friends of friends. It could be people in our community, our network. It could be private lenders. The seller could finance that for you. It could be seller finance and creative financing. All the above makes up that deal. As long as the deal makes sense, finding that money is not that hard. It's just not. People make it a lot bigger deal than it really is. Here it gets a little bit more fun for you. Okay. So in addition, does anybody know what an acquisition fee is? Has anybody heard the term acquisition fee? Because you get paid, keep in mind, when I said you get paid handsomely and you get paid a lot of money, and you get to do this if you're really good and you have this skill set that I'm teaching here tonight. If you can execute this, your skill set goes up, your money goes up, income goes up, everything goes up. Okay, so the term, you've heard it, beautiful. All it means for you putting this thing together, you get paid an acquisition fee, typically 2 to 3% of the purchase price. So in this case, if it's 2%, that's 30 grand. 30 grand on a $1.5 million deal, that's 30 grand. So picture this for a minute. 50,000 goes in. Within a week after closing the deal, $30,000, literally Peter to pay Paul, comes out. So you technically are $20,000 out of pocket. Physically $20,000 out of pocket. You brought in 10% of the money. You're going to get at least 40% of the deal. And then you're going to get an acquisition fee, and there's a bunch of other fees and stuff you get on top of that. We'll get into that in just a minute. So, talking about some of the frequently asked questions that I get. Justin, I want to make $10,000 to $20,000 a month in income from this multifamily game. How do I make that happen? How do I make that happen? The answer is 3 to 4 deals. 3 to 4 deals in the 10 to 30 unit apartment space will produce $2,500 to $4,000 per deal per month, free cash flow into your bank account. So if you're kind of looking and trying to plan this out, time this out, okay, I'm in my current job, I'm doing this, but I don't like it. I want to maneuver into this game of multifamily. I just don't know how to start. Well, you start with your first deal first. But just know if you're trying to plan this thing out to maybe exit your current situation in a couple of years, 3 to 4 deals, bada bing, bada boom. Okay. Next question I get. How much time is needed to be able to do this? I have a job, I have kids, I got a family, I got a lot of other crap going on. How much time does this take? The answer is 5 to 10 hours a week. 5 to 10 hours a week. With that in mind, you can execute this. No different than I did. This, give you a perfect case study. When I got started years ago, I was a real estate agent. So if any of you in here are real estate agents, this is how you do it. I was hustling 10 hours a day, slinging houses, helping people. Come home, family time for a couple hours. After the couple hours of family time, kids go to bed, all that thing happens. Daddy's on the computer, finding deals, analyzing them, writing offers. Finding deals, analyzing them, writing offers. And do that and do that and do that until boom, one hits. And that's the name of the game, step one. And then you get the first one leads to the second leads to the third. All of a sudden, you're 3 to 4, and then you have a conversation with your current boss and you say, peace out. Or your current career and you say, peace out. However you want to do it. If you're mad with your current situation, this gives you the lever to pull that off. Okay? It's key. It's key. So, belief that you need a lot of money to get started. If you found a 20-unit deal, and I ask all of you this question here right now, if you found a 20-unit deal in your city, name, state, and town right now in the next week, do you have $20,000 to $50,000 to go put into that deal, execute, put it into escrow so you can move towards closing that thing? Yes or no? Just chime in the chat. If you do, great. If you don't, great. Either way, it's great. Doesn't really matter. Okay, but I'm just curious. If you had that, could you pull that off? If the deal made great sense, could you pull that off right now? Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Beautiful. Keith, potentially awesome. Okay. And if you don't have the money, that's fine too. Right? There's ways to get around that. There's other ways to learn it. Okay. There's different things that it's just depending on where you're at and what you're trying to accomplish. Okay. So you're going to come in with $20,000 to $50,000. You're going to get 40% of the deal. You're going to get an acquisition fee to kind of rebate you back. And you're also going to get paid 5 to 8 different ways as you own this building for the next several years. Okay. So the belief that you need a lot of money to get started, it's false. It's a false belief pattern. And I need you to take that and chuck it out the window. And we need to move through that tonight because I just literally showed you how that's baloney. Okay. I was going to say something else, but it's baloney. So that's how that game works. Belief number 2. Remember belief number 2 that I said we have to crush tonight. And that is multifamily is too complex, and you have to be an expert to get started. It's not the case. It's just not the case. None of these people are experts. They weren't experts when they started. Heck, I don't even know if they're experts now. Even after getting to all their deals, 10 to 30 unit deals, many of them doing 50 plus unit deals, many of them on their 3rd, 4th deals now, right? And now they want to partner. So we partner with people in the community. So our fund and everything, we can partner with you to grow and scale. Not a problem. We love doing that. It's a great opportunity, but we also need to make sure people are well trained and we can help you out to get to where you want to go. And then let's rock and roll to the moon. Okay. But none of these people are experts. And I would even say more importantly, let's take this process of, multifamily. It's intimidating, right? At first it's intimidating, but really think about it for a minute. If you had a step-by-step blueprint that breaks down every step, actionable, understandable, empowers you and navigates you through the market confidently to get you into your first deal, right? That's what it really takes. And you could take ACUS, so I'll show you here in just a minute. English is her second language. She's in the medical field, actually in the Bay Area in California. Many of you are actually from up in this area. That's great. She figured it out. It was not too complex for her. It was not too complex for her. See, my audio's going to.
I listen to the crash course. I got hooked. It was so funny because that one is a small course. Yeah. However, I think I shared with you before that one of the parts that I enjoy the most is that you simplify language for many of us, and English is my second language. So I really enjoy the way that you were teaching and
being able to kind of explain the complex details and nuance in a layman's terms, simple format to where it actually resonates. Is that what I'm gathering?
Because there's a lot of terminology out there for real estate that seems very intimidating, especially for those who are new to the real estate investment business. And you made it so easy and simplify it in a way that for me resonates. It reminded me a little bit of the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. It's like that.
So that's ACUS. She actually turned into becoming one of our investors too on our deals, not just doing it for herself, but also passively investing in some of our apartment deals. She's fabulous. And then we have Steve, contractor, general contractor guy, Upper Midwest. His first deal was 39 units, a little bigger than normally we recommend, but this was such a smoking deal in Cleveland, Ohio. He got massive tax abatements, all kinds of other things, but it was not too complex for Steve.
Super stoked for you. Everybody give Steve a clap.
So 39 units, that was the Cleveland deal we were talking about. How many stories is that thing?
It's 4 stories. Little over 40,000 square feet with 4,000 square feet of commercial space.
Right.
Yeah, it's very challenging.
Is that the one you're getting the tax advantages on and all that stuff too?
In your tax, 100%.
Yeah, you got a 10-year, 100% tax abatement on that thing for property taxes, right? Not having to pay the property taxes. That's incredible. It's incredible. And then you have Brian. Brian, dog trainer, has a dog walking and dog training company. His first deal, he's now on his 3rd deal. He's actually in escrow right now on a 53 unit that he's raising $700 and something thousand for. His first deal was 22 units in Oklahoma. It was not too complex for a dog walker. And then I love it when, and I always cherish it when people come on and then they'll share it on Instagram, kind of their stories of successes and all that stuff. It's incredible. Yeah, and Brian was no expert when he first, came in and leaned into the community and stuff. He just was an open book, just wanted to learn. Frustrated with his current situation, wanted more, smart guy, and just followed the system. I don't know how else to say it. He followed it beautifully and he executed very, very quickly. I think his first deal was an escrow in 60 days. So it's all there, but it's like anything in life. And that's why I touched on this in the beginning about the motivation side. What's your big why? Because you can do this. You 100% can do this. If Brian can do it, if Steve can do it, if Akis can do it, if the hundreds of others can do it, you absolutely can do this. It just comes down to, are you pissed off enough with either where you're at or where you want to go? There's a little bit of a pain point there to push you through and get you to where you want to go. When you face resistance, you push through it. But that's also why people come in and you don't do it alone. You do it together. You do it in collaboration, right? If you want to do it, what do they say? If you want to go fast, do it alone. If you want to go far, do it together, right? If you want to go fast, do it alone. If you want to go far, do it together. And I think that's a really great quote. It's a really great quote. Does anybody know who Ken McElroy is? Ken McElroy. Have you seen this guy or heard of this guy before? Chime in the chat if you have. I'm curious. Curious. No. Yes. No. Yes. It's like a 50-50. I love it. So Ken McElroy, not some genius, right? He bought his first investment deal back in the 1990s. He was a freshman in college. No previous experience, okay? Today, $3 billion, 9,000 units in 5 states. Regarded as one of the best gurus in the industry now. I follow him. If you don't follow him on YouTube, you probably should. Very cool guy. Very cool guy. And is, into the moon and back. And so, my goal is 10,000 units and $1 billion, at least 10,000 units and $1 billion. He's got 3 billion and 9,000. So maybe I need to up my game, but I'm curious. Chime into the chat right now. What's your dream? If you could pick out a number of units, let's picture it out right now. It's December. You got, call it 6-7 months left here in this year, guys. 6-7 months left. So if you want to make the stomp happen, so that way you're sitting with a glass of wine December 31st, 2025, and you have your first multifamily deal done, right? Chime in. How many units would you like to have in total in your career if you could pull it off? Whether you think you can or can't, how many would you like? Wave a magic wand. Kevin, love it. 100 doors, beautiful. 5,000 in the next 10 years. Love you being on here tonight, Kevin. Appreciate you coming on. 10,000, 75, 10K, Ava. Let's go. 10K. Steve's got 50. Steve, if you got 50,000, you're going to be like BlackRock. Why not? Why not? Patty's got 100 doors. Matt, 100 doors. Pediola, 100 doors, 1,000 doors got Matt. Lindsay's $100, $200, 100 doors, 200 doors, 20 units by the end of the year. Love it, Michael. Love it. Steve, Rico. Yeah, it's whether you're getting into your first deal or your 10th deal, whatever it is. You just got to put one foot in front of the next, and you got to make a decision for yourself. I'm doing it, period. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this happen. That's it. And you got to jump. And then you're going to allow the how to show up. How to show up. Does anybody know any of these faces other than mine? None of these people were experts either when they got started, right? Whether it's Grant Cardone, Robert Martinez, apartment rock star. You got Carlos Reyes, Ryan Pineda, Beardy Brandon. Love Beardy Brandon. Guy's like 7 feet tall, by the way. He's huge. And then, everybody in there, right? None of these guys were experts. They had to figure it out for themselves. And then they went and got it done, right? They jumped off the cliff and they allowed the how to show up. So the belief that multifamily is too complex and it's for experts only, that's false. It's just not. But you have to learn this. I mean, I can't tell you how valuable of a skill set it is to do what I do now. I mean, knowing what I know, if I could, it's a whole game of going back and redoing this thing, but what you're learning and to learn this thing and to know how to execute, find deals, analyze them quickly. If you don't have a single dime to your name, if you can find great deals, you can analyze them quickly, right? You can put it together, structure it, put it together, financing and capital, close the escrow and manage these things. That is an extremely valuable skill set. That is worth millions of dollars to people. And because you have a skill set worth millions, you can get paid millions. Keep in mind, your income is directly related to the problems that you solve. It's directly related to the problems that you solve. So if you're sitting here tonight and you're making thousands of dollars, it's because you solve $1,000 problems. If you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's because you solve $100,000 problems. And if you're making millions of dollars, that's because you're solving $1 million problems. If you want to get into multifamily and make millions of dollars, this is how you do it, because now you have a skill set worth millions. You're solving $1 million problems for you and for other people, other people's money. And you're doing it the right way. That's why you get to do it. Okay. That's why this happens. It's not just some fugazi thing in the sky. You're having a very valuable skill set that's extremely valuable to people with money who don't want to do the day-to-day. They just want to give their money to someone, have it invested correctly, get my money back with my return, and you can do what you need to do. And you can go make money too. That's how it works. Number 3 belief that we're going to crack through right now, that deals are hard to find and the market is oversaturated. If I could show you how you can get a nice deal flow coming through direct to brokers and doing it the right way, and then having a software that we give you so you can find off-market deals direct to owner anywhere in the United States and runs AI technologies on top of that, would that be worth it to you? Hands up, thumbs up, down, if that would be worth it to you. Show you the direct to broker approach and the direct to owner approach on how this gets done. Because there's only 2 ways to find deals, everyone. 2 ways. Direct to broker and direct to the owners. Direct to broker and direct to the owners. This is probably the best method, and I'll explain why. This is a great method. It just entails more time, energy, and money to run this one. So for most people, and I don't know if this is the case for all of you, you have jobs or you have careers. Take up a lot of your time during the day. So for you to run this approach for your first approach may or may not be the best method. We do both. We teach both, but this is the best method to get started with. The direct to broker approach, building the networking community and relationships, then utilizing this to help that, okay? And that's the 2 methods of finding deals. So the belief that deals are hard to find and the market is oversaturated, okay? It is, that's the case if you do it alone. Deals are hard to find if you do it alone. But the key to doing it is you need to go this route, the direct to broker approach. So you're going to leverage the brokers on market listings to get access to their off-market opportunities. Use their listings to meet them, tour properties, build relationships, and get access. Who here knows the following websites? Crexy.com, LoopNet, or CoStar? So let me call this out. Do you get frustrated when you look on those websites because almost none of them make sense? Okay, Lindsay, yes, 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 yes. Awesome. Okay, here's the reason why. You have to understand the game of commercial real estate and especially multifamily, because that's what we're talking about tonight. When a property comes to market, this is how it comes to market. A broker is calling somebody like me saying, would you like to sell? Would you like to sell? Would you like to sell? Eventually, I'll say, yes, I'd like to sell my properties. So at that point, the broker gets the listing, they put together a nice little marketing package, and then they're going to circulate it amongst their 25 to 50 investor buddies, right? And their investor buddies, and they're going to look at that deal, and it's going to sell in that little pool of circulation about 90% of the time. So the reason that you're on the websites frustrated that you're not seeing good deals is because all you're getting are the leftovers. The websites are simply showing you leftovers. The real deals never made it there. The reason it's on the website is because everybody else passed on it before it ever got there. Does that make sense? You're probably having like a holy shit moment. Sorry, excuse my language. But you probably are like, no wonder. So that's how it's done? Yeah. So the stuff on the website, you're maybe seeing 20, 30% of the actual inventory that's selling. All the stuff that's selling that you'd actually look at, it would be like, yeah, this thing makes sense. Let's go. That's pre-market. It's pre-market. That's circulated amongst the buddies. So if you want to be one of the buddies, you have to learn this approach direct to broker. How do you get behind the scenes to get the action? That's what we do. It's not hard, but you need to know what to do, what to say, the nuance behind it, and how to execute the game. And once you do, the flow comes right through the inbox of pre-market deals. I literally was looking at one right before this call from a buddy that's in Huntsville, Alabama. He's looking at a 20-unit deal in Huntsville, Alabama. Pre-market, stuff that he got direct from the broker, from his broker relationships that he built. Took a little time, not that much time, took a little time, was following the process and procedure and system, and bada bing, bada boom. Great little deal. So that's the direct to broker approach. Now I said there's the direct to owner approach. You need software. We have a software. realestateradar.ai. realestateradar.ai. It's our software, finds pre-market, off-market deals anywhere in the US, direct to the owners, provides pretty much 160 million assets around the country to where you can lock in, find the owners that want to sell their properties. It'll run statistics and sellability scores on them using AI technology. Basically allow you to filter everything out, contact them directly through multiple marketing campaigns, whether that's mail, snail mail, postcards, mailers, phone calls, emails, text messages, all the above. It allows you to do that. And that's the direct to owner approach. More expensive because you're having to do mailers and campaigns, but the software is not expensive, but it does the job. But that's the direct to owner approach. And you can use all kinds of softwares. This is just ours, right? And this is the one that people get when they come in, they be a part of the community, is realestateradar.ai. So you have the direct to broker approach, and now we've solved the direct to owner approach. Now it just takes this thing called EFFORT, effort, in doing the work. Because if you do the work, you'll get it done. Because we hold people's hand the entire way through. You will execute, but you got to get out of bed. Okay? You got to get out of bed. I always say I can teach everything else, but I can't teach motivation. Right? Which is why I love to understand people's why. Right? Because that why is going to drive you. That why is going to get you to the finish line. That why is going to make you actually, when you're pissed off and tired and don't want to do it, it's going to make you do it. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to get up this morning. I was tired, long weekend, but I did. 4 a.m. Got my butt to the gym. I didn't want to go to the gym. Right? I've been rehabbing from a really bad shoulder injury for like 6 months. Completely dislocated my right shoulder, broke it off my humerus and everything. It was nasty, and completely ripped open the rotator cuff. Rebuilt the whole thing through surgery. I mean, it's been a disaster, but every day I fight through and get up and do it over and over and over again, right? And that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. Marilyn said, I watched a video the other day that's where videos go, or that's where deals go to die. You meaning on the websites? On the websites. That is true. Now, look, it's not that the deals don't happen there. Okay, deals sell on Crexy, LoopNet, and CoStar. They do. Just they typically have to be more heavily negotiated, right? Heavily negotiated. So that's how those things get done. Okay. So the belief that deals are hard to find and the market's oversaturated, if you do it alone, yes. If you do it alone, deals are hard to find, right? If you do it in community and collaboration and partnerships, do it together, the deals flow. The deals flow. But you need to know the two ways, direct to broker and direct to owner, and how to execute those. And then you get the deal flow. Now you're finding good deals. The deals don't seem like it's oversaturated, like they don't make sense because you're going to the right channels and you're getting through. Then the deal flow happens. Okay. It's important. Single family versus multifamily. I don't know if you remember 30 minutes ago when I said in multifamily, the reason you put in this effort and you do this and you make this happen for yourself is because you get a chance to make millions. Okay, and make other people millions. It's $1 million skill set. So that is why it is worth to do it. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. Single family and multifamily. In single family, you get paid 1 to 2 ways, right? Rental income, sale of property, profit, stuff like that, right? Get some monthly cash flow, profits from a sale or refinance. That's main game in single family. You don't get all the tax breaks. You get some, but you don't get the tax breaks I'm about to show you. Talk about bonus depreciation, cost segregation. You don't get any of that. You can, it just doesn't make sense. Multifamily, you get paid multiple ways. So in addition to getting percentages of the deal, getting cash flows and profits and all these other things, you also get fees for running it all the time. In addition to that, you get these massive tax breaks to wipe out all your taxes. Especially for all of us here in California, some of the states with massive taxes, we're getting murdered, right? That's why people play this game. I mean, I literally showed a neurosurgeon in New York State how to wipe out most of his neurosurgeon income the other day. He's like, I don't even care about making cash flow anymore. Just show me how to wipe out my taxes. And I showed him and he's like, is this legal? I said, 100%, man. He says, why didn't I know about it? I said, I don't know. You're not looking or talking to the right people. But once he understood it, he was like, I'm in. Let's go. But that's how it works. Get paid 5 to 8 ways: cash flow, profits, acquisition fees, asset management fees, tax benefits, fees at the sale, finder's fees, construction management fees, on and on and on. Multiple ways you're getting paid. Multiple ways you're getting paid. So let me give you a case study. Let's walk through a case study of a 31 unit deal that I did with $19,000 out of pocket. And I'm going to show you exactly what it cost to get into the deal, how much money I made when I was making it, the cash flows, everything, and how we exited. Okay, so let's walk through this case study. This is a 31 unit in the Midwest. We bought this thing for $1,525,000. We did $400,000 in renovation to it. Closing costs, that's what CC stands for, closing costs of $225,000. So we were all in at $2.15 million. We went out, we got a 70% loan, about $1.5 million loan on this thing. Once again, easier than getting a house loan because they used the financials on the property, which were pretty good, to substantiate that $1.5 million loan and pay the mortgage service on it every single month. Then we brought in the equity. So this is the game where it can stop a lot of people because you're sitting there going, well, I don't have $645,000. I don't even know what to do, how to even start that. $645,000. That was the total down payment to close the deal. I brought in 10%, $64,000. 90% came from OPM. It was actually 7 people in my network. 7 people in my network. Now, if you're sitting there tonight and you're saying, well, Justin, I don't have anybody, nor do I know anybody with money. So how can you say use my network? Because I don't have a network or I don't know anybody. Trust me, if you have a good deal, the money will find you. Let me repeat that. If you have a good deal, the money will find you. If you have a good deal that returns investors and people 18+% a year on their money, wipes out their taxes, and gives them long-term wealth generation and financial benefits, trust me, the money will find you. Money loves making money and it loves making money fast. So I need you to take that concept and throw that out the window because it's not just your network. It could be our community. People invest in other people's deals all the time inside the community. It could be private financing. It could also be seller financing creatively, which we teach, and it's all part of it. All of that stuff. There's multiple ways to raise that 581 grand. So presume that's checkboxed, okay? Now let's move further. You're getting an acquisition fee. I got one, 45 grand. So my out of pocket between what I put in and then the acquisition fee I literally got out 7 days after closing the deal, $19,000 physically out of pocket. Now let me show you what I get for that. So this 31 unit, 24 months later, let's fast forward, 24 months later, we went because we had renovated the property, improved it, raised the rents. So now the value of that property is now skyrocketed. It went from $1,525,000 to $3.6 million in value. So now we took out a new loan. We refinanced it. This is the BRRRR method you may have heard about. We did a cash out refinance. We pulled out $2.5 million. We paid off the previous loan. We paid back all of our investors plus their returns. We pocketed an extra $355,000, tax-free, by the way. Debt is tax-free. Did you know that? Debt, loans are tax-free money. If you didn't know that, they are. So there's good debt and there's bad debt. Bad debt's all your credit cards. Good debt is this debt against an asset that appreciates. In addition, so I'm getting 40% of the profits and 40% of the cash flow every single month. And when we sell and when we refi, $2,000 a month times 5 years, that's $120,000. Additionally, my net profits at the sale were $470,000. So I made $590,000 on a $19,000 investment. You tell me where else you're pulling that one off, then I'll sign up. Now people ask, well, I don't know, this doesn't make any sense. You need to have the skill set. If you have the knowledge and the ability to do what I just did, that's why you get paid beautifully. I was able to produce an amazing result for me and investors. And because of that, I get to make a crop load of money. It's real simple. Solve $1 million problems. Or in this case, solve hundreds of thousands of dollar problems. You make hundreds of thousands of dollars. You get the point. Raise the game. Increase your skill set. This is why the skill set's so valuable, because if you have it, you're very valuable to people with money. Make sense? That's why you do it. That's why you do it. So let's get back to the promises. So I promised you at the very beginning, right? Promised you at the very beginning how to buy an apartment in the next 90 days, 10 to 30 unit with $20,000 out of pocket. We did that. I showed you that. Heck, I just showed you a 31 unit for 19 grand out of pocket. Okay, so we checked that box. The belief that we threw out the window tonight that you need a lot of money, that's not the case. The belief that you have to be an expert and it's too complex. I showed you example after example after example, and I have hundreds of more. Okay, these are just normal folks, just like you on this thing tonight. It's just a question of, are they ready to go? Do they want to take the leap? Or they want to literally be in the exact same situation 12 months from now? And I ask you that question, what, if you're literally exactly where you're at 12 months from now, are you okay with that? I can't answer that for you. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I don't know. But there's a reason you're on here tonight. Something you want to improve upon or you're looking for, and that's okay. That's great. You should be, because that helps growth in your life for you, your family, your wife, your spouse, your kids, all the stuff you're trying to do. This is why you do it. Okay. So we knocked rid of that belief. We threw that out the window. And then the last one is that deals are hard to find and the market is oversaturated. I showed you the direct to broker approach. There's obviously a lot more nuance to that, but that's why you learn it. And then the direct to owner approach through software. And you could use any software for that, but we have a great one. Okay. So we knocked that one out of the window for you. Knocked that one out of the window. So a couple more frequently asked questions I get. What if I can't find a good deal, right? For people that come in and involved in the community, what if I can't find a good deal? We have a guarantee. We're going to give one to you. So if we can't help you locate a deal that makes financial sense in your first 90 days, we're going to give one through you through our Deals on Demand program, because we're using our software. We're scouring the country with our team. We're finding deals. We're wholesaling them. So we take some, we do them ourselves. We can't take every deal. So then we pass those on and we can basically hand it over on a silver platter if we have to. Not a problem. We have plenty of pre-vetted deals that we're looking at all the time around the country. So if you can't find a good deal, we're going to give one to you. Question number 2 I get, how do I raise money legally and confidently? How do I raise money? How do I do it? Raising money sounds intimidating. I get it, especially if you deal with SEC rules and get involved in that. People fear asking for money and they feel wrong about it, right? The credibility, do they attract the right people, the investors? You need three things. You need really three things for money. The deal makes sense. That's your lure. That's your magnet. A good pitch deck to help describe what the deal is. It's going to answer 95% of the questions for anybody looking at it. And then lastly is a good process. So if somebody raises their hand and says, hey, I'd like to give you 50 grand, you can bring that in. Those three things are your high level things you need. And we teach all that stuff. So what if I mess up the numbers? If I'm analyzing these deals, I don't want to lose money. I don't want to make big mistakes. You know, I fear all this stuff, losing money. Also, what if I mess up the numbers? Well, that's why you have someone teach you, number one, but also deal review those right alongside you so you don't mess up the numbers and you learn. That's the whole point of why you do it. So that way you're not doing it alone, right? What do they say? What's it say? If you do it alone, you can go fast. If you want to do it together, you go far. So who's going to manage the properties? If I own this beautiful 10 to 30 unit building, who's going to manage it? Third-party management. That's all paid for by the property, by the way. You're not paying for it. The property's paying for it. Property's paying for it. Okay. So in terms of like what you get and people that come into the community and that are a part of this and want to get involved in it and all that stuff, this is essentially what you get. Okay. Essentially what you get. So first and foremost, because I hear it a lot from folks, they want intimate access, right? They want directly with the mentor. They want to be handheld through this. They want that access and they want it in a small group environment. They don't want to get on a Zoom call with 200 people and try and learn this like I'm in a big old university classroom. Okay. So that's really, really key. So that's what we've done. Personal access to me every week, twice a week on a Zoom call, small environment. You're getting those Zoom calls and that mentoring right with me. Additionally, you're getting my cell phone number personally and my personal email. You get both of them. So that way, at any point in time, going through the process, in the middle of a deal, whatever it may be, you have direct access to me the entire time. So that's number one. Number two, 90-day action plan with accountability on top of it. The biggest thing people get into is they hit resistance and then they can't break through that. That's why we have the accountability there, that we wrap our arms around you and provide that through a 90-day action plan along with an accountability coach. So you get two of us all wrapping our arms around you. Number three is the deal review. This is probably one of the bigger ones that people love. They said, hey, if I'm learning this stuff, underwriting deals, like I don't know the numbers, what things mean, how to deal with this. Can you guys help? Absolutely. So as part of anything in the back end of the system, you submit deals for review. Our team reviews those, analyzes them right alongside you, and will help correct you and then guide you and teach you, but at the same time, correct those numbers so you're looking at good things. So that way you're underwriting, negotiating, getting the real world insights to do it the right way so you're making good offers. Because you can't make offers on bad numbers. So you need to look at things the right way. So deal review process is all included. Number four is the capital connections. This is another big ticket item. We have all of our lenders, financing partners, capital partners in the back end of our system. So everybody can submit your deals for review. They will underwrite them. They will provide the financing for you right in the back end of the system. If you have lenders you want to work with, fine. We will also teach you how to find more lenders, but we provide them in the back end of our system if you would like to use them. Not required to, but if you'd like to, we're trying to remove roadblocks. Additionally, equity and capital partners. Everybody in the community. As I mentioned, the OPM game is not just, hey, you go find a network, right? We're going to teach you how to do that, set you up to do that so you can actually bring in money, create a capital machine, and give you all the tools to do that. But additionally, we want to provide that for you too. Because I say there's two sides to it. I don't know if you've heard this quote before. You can give a man fish and he'll eat for a day, or you can teach a man to fish and they'll eat for a lifetime. Right? Have you heard that quote before? Anybody in here heard that quote before? I love that one, by the way, because what that teaches you is this. Everybody wants things done for them, but that's not really going to get you to go far. It's short term. If you really want to do this the right way, you need a little bit of both. So we're going to help with both, providing capital access and resources, and additionally teaching you how to attract it in and giving you the tools to do it. All included. Okay, all included. Number five, sourcing the deals. So we do this through the direct to broker and the direct to owner. We're going to give you our software for 90 days to use it. It's a kick-ass software. We're going to include all of that in there. And additionally, teaching you the broker approach and how to get behind the scenes to get these brokers to work with you and get you the deals. Okay, both of those approaches and sourcing the deals. Number 6, all of this is lifetime. Okay, so this is a big important component because a lot of other things I've seen out there sunset, meaning you're in it for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and then you're out. Like you don't have access to things. You have access to things for life. Okay, and we have it on a mobile app now. We're approved through Google and also through Apple. You can go right to the Apple store and download our app, and you can get right into the communities and chat, collaborate, network with other investors, everybody around the country, and doing deals all from the palm of your hand in your phone. Okay, lifetime access to that accountability and community. That's also the portal and the app is included. My master classes is pretty much everything A to Z apartments. We're going to walk through it. We have case studies, property walks, anything and everything you're going to learn in apartments. You get my entire master class, $3,500 value, all included in. I would say this is where people really shine. So who here has an LLC set up already? That's kind of your holding company LLC. Okay, if you have one, great. If you want another one, we provide them for you, Wyoming or Delaware, and we help you with that process, and we give it all to you in what I call our multifamily business in a box setup. So this includes LLC setup. We also make you presentable, because part of the process of raising money and attracting money, everyone here, is you need to be presentable. You cannot be a hidden investor. So we're going to provide you a nice templated website. We can even have the people do it for you to customize it. It's already templated and ready to go. You can customize it further. We have the people to do that for you. Additionally, a client relations management system, CRM, what that's going to do is allow you to collect people, anybody in your network, anybody around you, any of that stuff. We have it all pre-templated with funnels, automations, all this stuff, right? I know if you're not a tech person, don't worry. Just know that it's all done for you. And you have a nice, beautiful website and a CRM system and an LLC locked and loaded, and it's in our business in a box setup that we provide you, all included, okay? Additionally, our toolbox. So I'm presuming that nobody here wants to go figure out all the legal documents or go establish your own deal analyzers or pitch decks or letters of intent or emerging markets and investor checklists and property due diligence checklists and glossary of terms and on. I mean, the list just keeps going. So what we've done is we've created a multifamily toolbox that has all of this stuff in it, completely included there, and we're always adding stuff to it to improve it and make it better. This includes everything. Legal documents, purchase contracts, everything's in there templated, ready to go, that are fully available for you. Okay, fully available for you. And that's our multifamily toolbox and our business in a box setup. So extremely valuable. People love that. Most importantly, the guarantee. And I said this before, if we cannot help you find and locate a multifamily deal that makes financial sense in the next 90 days, we're going to give one to you through our Deals on Demand program. And that is because we're scouring the country. We have deals all the time through our Deals on Demand program. We can essentially hand one over on a silver platter if we need to. We haven't had to use this yet, but we will if we have to. Not a problem. Because we're wholesaling multifamily. We're doing them ourselves, and then we're handing them out as well. So summarizing what you get, the weekly mentorship calls, twice a week with me, small group setup. 90-day action guide with an accountability coach to make sure that we're getting you through those first 90 days, getting you into those deals, making things happen for you and holding you accountable. Everybody needs an accountability coach, including me. Deal review. We're going to review your deals right alongside you. Access to all of our capital and lending partners, sourcing the off-market deals, including our software that we're going to give you, lifetime community and mobile app access, all from the palm of your hand, our masterclass, everything A to Z apartments, and lastly is the multifamily business in a box, all done for you and provided for you. That is what you get, and then some. So I ask you this question: if all this did was finally get you your first apartment deal, would it be worth it by the end of the year? If it gave you the skill sets, remember I said $1 million skill sets? If it gives you the skill sets to do this and overcome any of these false beliefs that we were talking about, would it be worth it? And then lastly, I use this personal one for myself, but if it helps you gain the respect of your family, your kids, your spouse, others, that you're making stuff happen in your life, you're becoming a doer, not a dreamer, would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? Frank, yes, North Carolina is a great state for deals. Love it. Any of the Southeast is awesome. Any of the Midwest is awesome. If you're in any of these states, if you're in California, New York, New Jersey, some of the upper eastern seaboard, that's tougher kind of landlord-tenant law states, tougher landlord-tenant law states and tougher tax law. We're going to request that you go just outside the state to find deals. Okay, no different than I did. I went halfway across the country. I was in San Diego investing in our first deal in Kansas City, Missouri. I mean, that's in the Midwest. Direct flights. There's a whole process for this to happen if you're going to be doing out-of-state investing. That's how I got started. I know it inside and out, how to set it up, do your reconnaissance, get the systems, boots on the ground, people, everything. That's not a problem. That's like, I know that better than anybody. So that's the easy game. So if you're in a good market currently, I mean, it makes your life a whole lot easier because you're not having to travel really at all. But methods are done. The best deals are typically in the middle part of the country outside of the coastal zones. If you just get outside the coastal zones of the country, you're going to be able to buy deals anywhere between 50,000 a unit up to 150,000 a unit. That's your sweet spot. So your first deal is 10 to 30 units between 50,000 a unit and 150,000 per unit. That's where you're buying, because that's where you can get things to cash flow beautifully. You can actually get in and execute if you're a newbie and you don't have a lot of experience. That's how it gets done. That's how it gets done. Total value 65 grand. Would you like to pay me 65 grand today? Just kidding. You're not paying that. It's worth that, but you're not paying that. Okay, you're not paying that. You should pay that, but you're not. You're not. So what you get, and I'll just be summarizing it all, and some bonuses on top of that. So it clicks through. The cost is 10K. So the cost is 10K for the community and the mentorship and everything. And it's worth that in gold, you guys, in gold. Now, we have a couple options for you, depending on how people want to come and get involved. And they're very, very nice options. Option A is if you want a discount, you do a one pay, $7,000 versus $10,000. You get a 30% discount with a one pay. That's option A. Option B, if you want kind of things broken up, and we have some customized payment plans, but we go up to 5 payments. You can break it up into 5 payments at $2,000 a month if you want to do that and buy yourself runway to be able to execute this. So I guess, setting the money aside for a minute and looking at all the things you kind of get included over here, the value's off the chart, you guys, and we have the guarantee attached to it. So it really just comes down to, are you ready? And if you're not, that's okay. Like, there's options for that as well. But if this is something you really want for yourself this year and you want to get in and make it happen, we can help you do that, right? We can help you do that.